All right, we're going to solve some linear equations that have fractions in them. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything through by a common denominator. So we have to establish what that is first. Going to my first example here, I'm going to notice the only denominator of relevance in this case is 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everybody through by 5. 5 times the 4/5. 5 times w, which is just 5w. And then 5 times 4. Now on the left-hand side, I'm going to note that the 5's reduce. That's like 5 over 1 divided by 5, and I'm just left with a 4. Equals 5w plus 20. And now I'm just going to solve for w by subtracting the 20. Give me negative 16 equals 5w, then I divide by 5. And negative 16 over 5 doesn't reduce, so that's just w equals negative 16 over 5. That's my answer. Let's move on to example 2. The LCD in that case is just 8. So I'm going to multiply everybody through by 8. And the 25 also gets multiplied by 8. It's like I have 8 quarters. How much money would I have? That'll give me $2. So on the left-hand side, the 8's reduce out. I now have 5x equals 200. Divide both sides by 5. I get that x equals 40. All right, let's do our third example. In this case, we have the fraction on the right-hand side, and the only denominator of relevance is the 5. So I'm going to multiply everybody through by 5. 4u times 5, as well as the negative 8/5. On the left-hand side, that just gives me 20u. Right-hand side, a negative times a positive gives me a negative overall. And the 5's reduced, so I end up with just negative 8. I'm going to divide both sides by 20. Give me u is equal, and I have a negative over a positive, so overall my answer is going to be negative. And 8 over 20, I can reduce a 4 out of that. That's going to give me 2/5. There you go. All right, let's step it up a little bit. We'll move on to example 4. Again, the only denominator of relevance is the 4 in this case. So I'm going to multiply everybody through by 4. Negative 8. This big ugly fraction by 4. Now, I'm going to notice on the right-hand side, the 4 is going to reduce. Again, that's like 4 over 1 divided by 4, and they reduce. Left-hand side, I am left with negative 32, because a positive times a negative is a negative, equals negative 15 plus x. Adding 15 to both sides gives me negative 17 equals x. That's my answer. All right, number 5 is a little daunting. Now, in this case, I have to identify the LCD between the 3, the 2, and the 7, and they have nothing in common, so the LCD in this case is just 3 times 2 times 7, which ends up being, for us, 42. So I'm going to multiply all 3 of these pieces by 42. Negative 1/3 y minus 42 times 3/2 equals 42 times negative 6/7. All right, so on the left-hand side, that's like 42 over 1. I'm going to reduce that with the 3 in the denominator, and I get 14y. Minus, now I'm going to divide the 42 by 2, which gives me 21, and then 21 times 3 gives me 63. The right-hand side, the 42 divided by the 7 gives me 6. 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. I'm going to add the 63 to both sides. Giving me 14y equals 27. And then divide by 14. Giving me my answer is 27 over 14. I know these seem lengthy, but it really is worth writing everything out like this. Next up, in this next example, I'm going to have to multiply through by the LCD, which in this case is 6. That covers the 3 and the 6, so I'm going to go 6 times W over 3. Minus 6 times 3. 6 times W over 6. All right, on the left-hand side, the 6 and the 3 reduce, and I end up with a 2W minus 18 equals W, because the 6's reduce. And now I'm going to subtract a W to both sides. On the right-hand side, it goes to 0. The left-hand side goes to just 2W minus W is just W. Minus 18 equals 0. And now I'm just going to add both sides to get 18. There you go. All right, let's do this last example. This one's a little crazy. We are going to identify the LCD for number 7 here is going to be between the 5 and the 3. It's going to give me a 15 that I'm multiplying through by. So I'm going to get 15 times negative 7/5 U plus 15 times 5 equals 15 times negative 2/5 U minus 15 times 4/3. All right, on the left-hand side, the 15 and the 5 reduce. I'm left with the 3. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21U. Plus 15 times 5 is 75. Next up, we have 15 over 5, which gives me 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6U. Minus, now the 15 and the 3 reduce, and I just get a 5 up there. And 5 times 4 is 20, so that's minus 20. I'm going to go ahead and add a 6W to both sides. These are U's, not W's, sorry. Negative 21U plus 6U gives me negative 15U. Plus 75 equals negative 20. Subtract a 75. Gives me negative 15U equals negative 95. And now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 15. And negative 95 over negative 15 gives me a positive, U equals a positive, and that reduces, when I take a 5 out of both, 19 over 3. There it is.